Before we begin our meeting, I'd like to ask that the commissioners please stand, raise your right hand for your oath of office. You do solemnly swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of district, whatever your district that you're representing, of Berry County, as Berry County Commissioner according to the best of your ability.
I do.
Thank you. I've put your oath of office in front of you. If you would please sign that, and I will be around to collect.
Okay. Sign again?
Nope, that's mine. I'm going to take a minute here to sign these myself before we start our meeting. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to call the meeting to order. And I will begin with roll call. Calton. Campbell.
Here.
Doster. Present. Getty.
Here.
Hatfield.
Present.
Jackson.
Here.
Smelker.
Here.
And Tunison.
Here.
Thank you. I would ask that you please stand again for the Pledge of Allegiance. And guests. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Approval of agenda. Are there any corrections, additions, or deletions to today's agenda?
Madam Chair, could we add commissioner comments after limited public comment and before adjournment?
Yes.
Thank you.
That'll become item 12, I believe.
Madam Chair, could we also add correspondence? Could somebody speak up? Madam Chair, could you also add correspondence as I have correspondence for the board?
I don't think your microphone's on.
Is it on now?
Yes.
There we go.
I heard you. You don't have to repeat that, though. We'll add that.
Adding correspondence.
Okay.
Where is that going to go?
We'll add correspondence probably after the adoption of the 23 meeting schedule, if that's okay.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? Hearing no other changes, then the agenda is adopted as amended. At this time, I will open up the floor for nominations for board chair.
Madam Chair, I'd like to nominate David Jackson for board chair.
Second it.
No other nominations?
Madam Chair, I'd like to nominate myself, Commissioner Doster, for chair.
Is there a second? Actually, I don't think I need a second for that. Okay. So if there's no objection, I have put ballots in front of your desk. Would you like to vote by secret ballot, and then I will read those aloud?
Okay.
Okay, so go ahead and vote your ballot for chairperson.
Tell me you were going to do that. Why not?
Okay. Reading of the ballots as written. 1 for Jackson. Oops, I'm going to drop one. 2 for Jackson. 3 for Jackson. 4 for Jackson. 1 for Doster. Is that 4? 5 for Jackson. 6 for Jackson. 7 for Jackson. Congratulations.
Thank you.
1 for Doster. I would entertain a motion for adoption of Resolution 23-1, resolution for the election of Dave Jackson as board chairperson for 2023. 6 for Jackson. 7 for Jackson. I'm sorry, did you second that? Congratulations. Okay, thank you. 1 for Doster. I would entertain a motion for adoption of Resolution 23-1, resolution for the election of Dave Jackson as board chairperson for 2020. We'll do a roll call vote on that motion. Colton.
Yes.
Thank you. Campbell.
Aye.
Doster.
Nay.
Entertain a motion for
Getty?
adoption of Resolution 23-1.
Hatfield?
Yes.
Of Dave Jackson as
Smelker?
Aye.
We'll do a roll call vote
Tunison?
on that
Aye.
motion. Jackson.
Aye.
Colton.
Yes.
At this time, I will turn the meeting over to Chair Jackson.
Nay.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Getty? Hatfield?
Appreciate that, thank you. Election of vice chairperson, item 6 on our agenda.
At this time, I
The
will
floor
turn-
is now.
vice chairperson, the recommend is that it's sort of repetitive, but if you may, and that's a whereas. You as a board I suppose you could say, have nominated. But the final therefore is that the board elects commissioner. In this case, it would be
I see.
Hatfield. The previous one, we just wrote to whereas that particular commissioner received the most votes because it was by secret ballot.
Okay,
So
thank you.
I can maybe next year look at, try to wordsmith that. But, you in effect, the now therefore is the point that you're actually appointing or electing the vice chair. All right, I'll see if I can wordsmith that a little differently.
Motion to, for resolution 23-02.
Is there support?
Support.
Adoption of Resolution 2023-02, motion made by Smelker, support by Getty. Resolution for the election of board vice chairperson for 2023 being David Hatfield. Madam Chair, we can go to discussion. Any further discussion? Madam Chair, would you call the roll?
Campbell.
Aye.
Doster.
Aye.
Getty.
Aye.
Hatfield.
Aye.
Smoker.
Aye.
Tunison.
Aye.
Colton.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye. The motion is adopted. Congratulations, David Hatfield, and Vice Chair.
Thank you.
Limited public comment. At this time, any member of the public wishing to address the board may do so for up to 3 minutes.
Mr. Chair, my name is John Rocha, City of Hastings, Precinct District in Ward 3. First of all, congratulations on your guys' election. That's awesome. Can't wait to work with you guys in the next couple of years and see what we can really do for the county of Berry County. I come before you guys as a Marine Corps veteran, served in Afghanistan in 2004 from 1999 to 2004. There is a lot of veterans that need help in Berry County. And as so, there's a vacant seat on the Veterans Committee in Berry County. Now, a lot of people may not agree with my political stance. People may not agree with the way I come across with my politics. But the one thing nobody can take from me is my passion for my community and veterans in this community. Currently involved with the VFW and the American Legion, both here in Berry County. I have built great rapport across the entire state with legislators, both House and Senate, both retired and active duty in there as well. Currently serve on the executive committee for Berry County GOP, as well as chair committee there as well. I'm extremely active in this community as I work with the Berry County Sheriff's Department as my current employment. So I really would appreciate your guys' consideration as we're getting ready to fill that void for the next term, that empty slot for Veterans Committee, so we can actually move that forward and start helping those veterans in Berry County that truly, truly need it. Again, I look forward to working with all of you guys, and I wish you guys the best of luck in your term. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there further public comment?
Hi, my name's Bob Hanley. I'm a resident of Pine Lake. I'm here to my usual weekly meeting to talk about our group, Friends of Pine Lake, that have an adamant opposition to the drain that's being proposed for Pine Lake. I'm just going to pass this around. I just wanted to come to this first meeting because I know we've got a few new chair people on this. That's a listing of a petition that we've initiated around Labor Day of this year. We currently have 283 homes represented by 412 signatures that are in complete opposition to the project. We don't want the drain at all. We don't want any lake level set. We're continuing to get signatures every day. So I'm hoping that the new commissioners will look at this whole project with open eyes and realize that the way in which this was started and the way in which it continues to be administered is, I don't know what the right word is, it's bad. You know, people do not want this drain, and it should be stopped. So that's just a copy. I'd like to pick that up at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there additional public comment?
Could I just make a comment that it's really cold in here? Is there a way to make it less
Is there additional public comment? Hearing none, we will move ahead. Item 8 on the agenda, adoption of board rules. The chair would entertain a motion for adoption of Resolution 23-03, a resolution adopting rules of the Berry County Board of Commissioners.
So moved. Hatfield.
Support. Getty.
The motion has been made by Hatfield, support by Getty for adoption of Resolution 23-03, a resolution adopting rules of the Berry County Board of Commissioners. Discussion. Just by starting out, last year, we kind of dove into the board rules extensively, spent several meetings, tabled, reopened, and talked about this in a lot of detail. There was some concern about some aggressive behavior, which I don't think we witnessed here, but there was some cause for concern on some commissioners. We looked at everything from, do we need to reduce public comment from 1 to 2? Are there things that we should do? And in the end, they did add some things in there, allowing the board to remove people who were disorderly. But at the same token, that board chose not to restrict by keeping a second public comment and by keeping the board rules intact for the most part, just with that addition. So there are some members from last year who also took part of that. I don't know if Commissioner Smelker, if you'd like to add to that, or Commissioner Getty.
I believe we made the right decision by not changing the rules drastically and keeping the 2 public comments. And I believe that the public handled themselves well.
Commissioner Getty?
I agree, and I liked the addition of the commissioner comments in there so that we can offer clarification or comments at the end. Thank you. I liked the addition of the commissioner comments at the end of the agenda so that there can be some interaction and some response to comments as they've come up. So I thought that was a good addition.
Commissioner Campbell?
No, I believe we've said it all. I really do enjoy having the commissioner comments added to our agendas.
Okay. Commissioner Tunison, any questions? Or?
No, after sitting here most of all last year, I really think that's a great thing to have the commissioner comments at the end to answer some questions or when people bring up some things. So.
Vice Chair Hatfield?
Nothing.
Okay. Commissioner Calton?
I'm not a big fan of 2 public comments. It seems kind of redundant. Either you should, I've been to a lot of different meetings. There's public comments, either towards the beginning or towards the end, but I've never seen meetings where they're both. I'll support this, but I don't like that aspect of it.
And just because we approved the board rules today, last year we went into the board rules, I think, in April or May. So these are not permanently affixed to us. We can change them or revise them at any point in the future if that's something that we want to take up. So, Commissioner Doster.
Thank you. I have a number of suggestions for the board. D4 under Article 1 sets the board meeting. Am I still on?
Yes.
Sets the board meeting at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm in the far corner of the county, and so is a number of the constituents in this area. Coming for a board meeting and being able to get here early enough to prepare in the middle of the winter is a difficulty. It's still dark when I left this morning. I would ask the board to consider moving the board meeting to 10 o'clock. That would still give you 2 hours before lunch. A 2-hour meeting really is an optimal meeting, in my belief. Nothing good really happens after 2 hours in a meeting. So I would ask the board to consider moving the board meeting to 10 o'clock on a regular basis. Do you want these one at a time, or?
Yeah, continue on.
Okay. Then we have the concept of the committee of the whole that goes through these bylaws or these board meetings. When I was on this board, I was sworn in once before, 30 years ago. That did not exist. It's a relatively new invention. In looking at the board's actions over those 30 years, I don't see that the committee of the whole has been as productive as standard committees, where you would have 3 members, say, of the board on a finance committee, property and facilities committee, personnel committee, perhaps. At one point, we had committees where each board member would actually chair a committee, and that allowed for a gathering of expertise on certain areas. I feel that having the committee of the whole is rather redundant. You were also able to get into much finer granular detail by having standard committees structure. I think that that's something that the board should consider returning to.
Anything else?
Article 2C8, I believe, talks about how the agenda is set. And it states that the chairman or with consultation, I think, with Michael, sets the agenda. I would like to add the chair in consultation with the board would set the agenda. I think that there have been problems, particularly in this last group with Ben, that he had the power to deny things being on the agenda that I think that the board might have or could have discussed. I think that opening that up a little bit, most boards run that way, most township boards run that way. The chair themselves do not have 100% control over the agenda, that's something that's a give and take with the members of the board. I'd like to see that language added.
It also states in there that any commissioner can add items to the agenda.
Yes.
Just set the deadline by 5 p.m. on Wednesday. So, now, if the agenda is already packed, as you said, once you get past the 2-hour meeting, then the chair or vice chair may request to move it into a second cow or an additional meeting like that, unless we've had cases where one commissioner felt it was extremely urgent that we force it on or put it on that agenda, then we made that exception and did that also. So I don't see that being an issue if there's something that you feel is urgent and it's discussed either with myself or with Michael, that typically they've been very flexible in the past on being sure items that are important get on, even to the point where we've had to add some things to the BOC to get them approved, for that.
So historically, you have been basically doing that in the past as in practice then?
Very flexible.
Okay. I agree with Commissioner Colton regarding, I'd like to streamline the meeting a little more. Regarding the double public comment section, I'm not a harbinger for being strict with the 3 minutes. If there was only one, I think that language could be 3 minutes or the consent of the chair. If there's a particularly interesting comments that are going on, instead of cutting them off and then making these people come back after 3 minutes to finish the rest of their sentence at the end, I don't see that that's particularly helpful. I'd like to see a broader concept of one public comment. For one thing, having public comment at the end, it tends to have more of the purpose of public comment, in my view, is that the board can then have discussion on it and decide whether that's of value in order to add to the agenda or have a further discussion on. Public comment that's at the end of the meeting is kind of an out-the-door, last-minute gotcha scenario where the board does not have the opportunity to respond then. If you have it at the beginning and you give full availability to that, of getting their points across, I think it's much more effective and makes better government. Under, yes?
Go ahead.
I believe it's Article 4D. And another avenue of streamlining the board meeting, there's a section for citizen participation during the board meeting where any member of the public can basically raise their hand and interrupt any process, any discussion at any point, and be given 3 minutes to discuss. I know that this hasn't necessarily been a problem in the past. I foresee a number of the issues coming before the board where this would be a good opportunity for the public to take over the board. 20 people saying 3 minutes in the middle of everything that comes before the board makes it totally impracticable. 3 of us went to some commissioner training here recently. We asked all the adjoining boards whether they had this in practice, and none of them did. None of the townships that I'm aware of allow for an interruption from the public that could possibly dominate the board discussion. I think that it's something, there's so many other avenues for people to have comment. They can write, they can do the public comment. It isn't like this board is very secretive. This board projects these meetings live. The minutes are subjected to the Open Meeting Act that are available before and after the meeting within the time frame. I mean, it isn't, I think that this is something that could be eliminated.
Okay.
Under, I think it's Article 4K, per diem for the board members. There was a resolution that was passed eliminating that. I'd like to see that reviewed. We paid per diem when I was on this board before. I think the concept of the more work you do, the more money that you should be paid in recompense is a good idea. I mean, the opposite is actually what the concept of communism is. I mean, that everyone is, that no matter what you do, you get paid the same. I think there should be some reward for the more work you do, and show to that there should be compensation for that. Basically, this board, the salary for this board is slightly above what the salary was when I took this position 30 years ago. It has not kept up with the rate of inflation at all. Anyways, that's something I think that could be reviewed at some point. Lastly, and I suppose this is maybe kind of an emotional issue, perhaps. And we didn't do it today, and I would like it to continue, is the convocation. In an effort to streamline the board, I would like to see the convocation removed. And there are a number of reasons for that. One is the basic reason that I believe that there should be a separation of church and state, and that should be implemented. I mean, that's a concept of the Founding Fathers. It's a concept that the Constitution was based on. But to me personally, I was raised in a very conservative religious background. I've been to church. I play in a church. My parents founded a church, praying to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ at every meeting. I think that you exclude members that we represent. It is not done everywhere. It is a fairly new addition. We did not do it when I was here before. I mean, to me personally, I know other people would not think of this probably, but to me, it's rather manipulative. I've seen it in court many, many times of people using scripture lesson to get people to think that God is somehow on their side, or that their viewpoint is more important than others. If you look at the Bible itself, I mean, I think that Jesus taught that he tried to they tried to get Jesus involved in politics at one point. The Sadducees did. They tried to tell him that we shouldn't Caesar's domination here. We shouldn't be paying our taxes to Caesar. He's trying to control us all, and he's a foreign government. And Jesus' reply was, whose face is on that? And they said, Caesar. Well, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. And he stated that his kingdom is not of this earth. So it's of heaven. So, and God's presence is here, regardless of whether we do a convocation to him or not. I think it's something that there are people that can be, it puts it ill at ease that it looks like you're conforming to a certain belief. And I don't think that's what the concept of our Constitution believed in. I believe it felt that we should have freedom of religion. Thank you.
Okay. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay.
Those are the changes I'd like to see occur, and
those are several changes. I mean, I think something like the time of the meeting, that's something that we could make a motion on and put a vote on today. That's fairly simple. When you talk about changing the committee structure from the committee of the whole back to the committee structure that we had 10 or 12 years ago, I know that has been discussed with several commissioners in the past. That would be something I think in the future we should take as an agenda item, potentially put an ad hoc committee together, look at what other counties are doing for their structures that are similar size, and really investigate that. I don't see that as something that we should make on a quick decision. I'd like to see a lot of thought go into that if we're going to do something like that. The removing of public comment, removing citizen participation, I also think that we should allow for additional input from our constituents on those things before we move forward on that. I think we could definitely put those on a future COW or on a future board meeting to discuss. Per diem, and Michael, you may answer this, but our per diem rates, is that under our compensation commission for them to determine, or is that something that can be determined by the board?
Don't know the answer to that right offhand. You have to look to see. I don't want to speculate at this moment because we haven't had per diems in have the compensation commission, that's never, that hasn't, concept hasn't, or discussion hasn't come up. I couldn't find any look into that.
Okay, so that's something else we can address in the near future. And as far as the invocation goes at the beginning of the meeting, I don't know if commissioners, you want to put that in with the discussion on the second public comment, citizen participation, and per diem, and kind of wrap that all into one thing, or do you want to take something like that up today?
Is there a motion on the floor, David, or just discussion?
This is discussion for adoption of board rules. There is a motion on the floor.
I say we adopt the board rules as is.
What's the motion on the floor?
The motion on the floor is the adoption of Resolution 23-03 for a resolution adopting the rules of the Berry County Board of Commissioners for 2023. And those are the board rules that you have in front of you.
Yep. Present ones that you had from the past.
Yes.
Okay.
So, as I mentioned at the beginning, we can take any piece of that at a future meeting and discuss those. So, hang on just a second. Any other commissioners have input on that? I will recognize Mr. Bass.
Mr. Chairman, we're having a very difficult time hearing the discussion that's going on out there. I don't know if it's a problem with the system or a bunch of shy commissioners.
Don't have my voice back yet. I'll just talk closer. Sorry.
We will get closer to the microphone. Be sure that they're on. But
Mr. Chair, I'd move to amend the motion to set the board meetings, regular board meetings at 10 o'clock.
is there support? There is no support for the motion, for the amendment to have the board meetings at 10 o'clock. Without support, that motion fails. Is there further discussion on the motion on the table?
I think that a number of good points have been raised that deserve further discussion, but I think that it's premature to try to make a decision on that at this point.
So you'd like to see for continuing discussion on this at a future COW?
Yes, and perhaps break those into a logical segment of issues.
I agree, that's a big chunk.
I think the topic of the time of the meeting has been brought up before, and the accessibility for members of the public to attend when it's in the morning. I think 9 o'clock in the morning is just fine because it gives me the rest of my day, but an evening meeting we might consider. I think that, Commissioner Vice Chair has a good point in that blocking it up into some discussion points, and I'd like to open the discussion about the time of the meeting and possibly adding an evening option.
Okay, I'm making notes on that as well. Further discussion?
I agree with Catherine on that. I think a lot of people would like maybe see one meeting a month, maybe at night or periodically a night meeting. So some people, I listened to that at recently, and people were talking about, we just can't get off work. Well, it makes sense that we could do that once in a while, have a night meeting.
Okay.
As long as it's definitely posted plenty of time for people to know.
Okay. We did have a discussion on that last year, and I don't know if Mr. Carlton, Commissioner Carlton, you have any insight on that, but I know that they had tried evening meetings in the past.
We had, back at the time, this was about, say, 10 years ago when I was chair, we had, of our two regular meetings, one was in the morning. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, one was in the morning, and then we decided to do the second one in the evening, and we actually even moved them around the county. And that was, don't ever try that again. Because we wanted to have more opportunity, for people who work in the daytime or people who work in different parts of the county. But it was not successful, especially going around the county. Heck, we went to some places where the supervisor of that township was supposed to open the building, and they didn't even come. And so we all just kind of were out in the parking lot. So I wouldn't try that again. The evening meetings didn't really improve attendance because, okay, so now it was easier for people to come in the evening who worked during the day, but now people who worked in the evening couldn't come. So there was a net, there weren't more people, and it created a second more issue where it made it harder for employees of the county who are working during the day to go to these night meetings.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I concur with those comments from Commissioner Colton. We had tried that as well on our board, thinking that would improve the ability of the CR meetings, and it had the reverse effect. And it created a substantial burden on the employees of the county, who then had to do their regular jobs and then come to a board meeting afterwards at night. It was not successful.
Awesome. Well, Commissioner Doster has raised several points from the time of the meetings, the cow structure versus a committee structure, removing a second public comment, removing citizen participation, evaluating per diem, and the invocation. So that is a big chunk of things for future consideration, and I'll work with Commissioner Doster as far as getting it on a future agenda so we can talk about those and discuss those in detail and give them the time they deserve. I don't think we came prepared today to make those changes, and I'd hate to make those changes without getting some citizen input on some of those as well. So is there any further discussion before we vote? Okay. Again, on the table right now is Resolution 23-03, a resolution adopting the rules of Berry County Board of Commissioners. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Doster.
Aye.
Getty.
Aye.
Hatfield.
Aye.
Smelker.
Aye.
Tunison.
Aye.
Colton.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye. The motion is adopted. I'm handing these out. These are committee assignments. You would pass those down. At this time, the chair would entertain a motion to confirm the chairperson's appointments of the members to committees of the Board of Commissioners. Would someone like to make that motion?
I will make that motion.
Motion by Smelker. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Colton.
Now, just for clarification, Mr. Chair, this is just to okay the committee assignments we're being given, right?
This is to okay the committee assignments that we are given, and as always, I think we've had some conflicts in either scheduling or otherwise where we've needed to change commissioners. And commissioners are allowed to change committee assignments or work with other commissioners or work with myself or with Michael to figure out what will work best. So this is a starting point. Typically, some of the returning commissioners have got some of the same assignments. Because there's 8 versus 7, it's spread it out a little bit more. So there's easier lift for 8 versus 7. But like I said, if there is an issue at some point, we can get together with myself, Michael, whatever the case is, or you can talk to a fellow commissioner and change, update, exchange, whatever the case is. Committee assignments are not permanent. Typically, they change from year to year based on the commissioners and who is here. So It's just nice to rotate people through. It's just like I asked Commissioner Tunison to join the Health Board because he's had some questions on that in the past. And I'd like every commissioner at some point to spend some time on the Health Board so you can learn what our health department does, because it tends to be something that has a lot of questions and concerns. So, discussion. He said if we need to change, update, or move some of these, we can do so. Hearing no discussion, we will proceed to vote. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll?
Getty.
Aye.
Hatfield.
Aye.
Smelker.
Aye.
Tunison.
Aye.
Colton.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Doster.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye. The motion passes. Next on our agenda, item 10, adoption of the 2023 schedule for Committee of the Whole and Board of Commissioner meetings. That is in your packet as well. Michael, I saw you had some adjustments to the schedule.
Well, just, real quick. You'll note that there are two schedules, one for the Committee of the Whole and one for the full Board of Commissioners. You'll notice that, in each case, the schedule goes through and highlights the date that the meeting should or would occur and the time. For the Committee of the Whole schedule, April 18th happens to be proposed to change that to an actual board meeting due to the MAC Legislative Conference that occurs in Lansing from April 24th through April 26th.
Okay.
So what we would do is we would, in April, have a Committee of the Whole meeting on the 4th. We'd have a board meeting on the 11th. And then we'd have a combined, if you may, board Committee of the Whole meeting on the 18th and no meeting on the 25th.
I think we've done that in the past as well.
We have. We would then in July have a committee of the, actually you would cancel the July 4th Committee of the Whole, the first Committee of the Whole of that month due to the 4th of July holiday. And we would have just a board meeting on the 13th. We would then go into the regular July 18th Committee of the Whole, July 25th. Did I say that right? It would be, we'd cancel the July 4th.
Correct.
We'd have it on July 11th. I said July 13th. I said it, pardon me, it would be July 11th. And then we'd go into July 18th and July 25th with the regular schedule.
Okay, October 3rd, canceled due to MAC conference.
Yep, that's in Kalamazoo this year, October 2nd through October 4th. So we'd cancel the October 3rd, and what we would do is just have on October 10th, everything would go to the full board.
Combined meeting.
Yep.
Okay, and then we're going to continue with our format that we're using this year. We have a COW, a BOC, and then a BOC to end the year, the third week of December.
Yeah.
Third Tuesday in December.
If that works for everybody, yes.
It does. I missed you guys for a couple weeks, but not that much, so, you know. Any questions for Michael on the schedule?
Thank you.
Hearing none.
Is December 12th then the last meeting of December?
December, Board of Commissioner meeting scheduled December,
December 19th.
Yeah, I thought it was the 19th.
Yeah.
December 19th is a BOC. So that'll be the final meeting of the year.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, I see, Mark. That is a little confusing. So that's correct. What we would have is we would have a committee of the whole on December 5th, the first Tuesday. Then we'd have a board meeting on December 12th. And then the committee of the whole on December 19th would actually become a Board of Commissioners meeting on December 19th.
Oh, the struck out 26th, there, you've got in small
Yeah.
writing, the 19th
There
next
you
to it.
go.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I said it. I see how that one was a little confusing.
Thank you, Michael.
Yep.
The chair would entertain a motion to approve the attached 2023 meeting schedules for regular meetings of the Committee of the Whole and the Board of Commissioners.
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Smelker, supported by Hatfield, to approve the attached 2023 meeting schedule for the regular meetings of the Committee of the Whole and for the Board of Commissioners. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Hatfield.
Aye.
Smoker.
Aye.
Tunison.
Aye.
Colton.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Doster. Getty.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye. The motion is adopted. Correspondence. Mr. Doster. Commissioner Doster.
I received a letter addressed to the courthouse here, and I already made a copy for Michael for the file. It's dated December 17th, 2022, and it's from Mike Cool and Teresa Vendimiglia of Pine Lake. States, I am submitting this letter to bring to your attention my opposition to a project that is being planned at Pine Lake, which resides in both Allegan and Berry counties. The Berry County Drain Commissioner, Jim Dahl, is in the process of putting a project together to install a permanent drain to the lake, thereby capping the maximum water level. Unfortunately and short-sightedly, there is no plan in the project to ensure a minimum water level, which would be disastrous for our lake given certain drier than normal environmental conditions. Note that this type of condition has existed for the last 2 years as the lake level has decreased approximately 24 to 30 inches during this time, and it is entirely possible that future weather conditions could be similar. A petition opposing the project is currently being circulated, and I presume that's what this was that went around the board today. As of today, 399 people have signed the petition from 262 homes. The petition is a work in progress as there are over 600 homes that would be affected financially by this project. At present, approximately 92% of those contacted are opposed to the project. Representatives from this opposition group are planning to attend commission meetings in both Allegan and Berry counties in the next months to further discuss and clarify any questions relating to the project or reasoning for opposition. Respectfully submitted, Mike Cool, Teresa Vendimiglia, South Drive, Plainville.
Thank you. Any commissioners have additional correspondence? We'll move ahead. Limited public comment. At this time, any member of the public wishing to address the board may do so for up to 3 minutes.
Larry Bass, Carlton Center, and I was hoping to avoid this for the entire year. Mr. Chairman, there's some comments made this morning that deeply offend me. Evidently, we've got a couple of new commissioners that are working to disenfranchise the public by limiting public comments to one. There's a reason there's 2 sessions of public comments. The one at the start is so the public can take a look at the agenda and make comments to their preferences before the discussion occurs. Number 2, the second one gives us an opportunity to make comments on whether we thought you did a good job or not. By the way, if you have openings on the health board, I would volunteer. And I would suggest that some of the commissioners read the damn Constitution. Okay, the First Amendment is one of the most misunderstood amendments in the Constitution, okay? And there was some, anyway.
Swore.
I would, if any of them want to debate that, I'd be more than willing to be your huckleberry on that.
This is an appropriate language.
I stand corrected. As far as changing the time of the meetings, everybody here knew the time of the meetings when they ran for the commission. Okay, if you want to change it, that's up to you. Ad hoc committees can also have public involvement, and too often the public has been disenfranchised from those ad hoc committees. Thank you very much. And once again, I apologize for the language.
I'm a sailor's wife, so I don't know that that's a bad word. Shelley Lake, Irving Township. Two quick things that I just wanted to mention. The two public comments, I guess I see them differently as well. The first is just what's on our mind, and the second is based on what you folks talked about, we might have a comment. It's not really a gotcha. It's just, hey, you brought something up, I might have a comment. So the public participation during the meeting that has been discussed, and I have not ever seen that abused in my year of coming. I've only seen it maybe to supply additional information, corrections of dates. I've never seen it to disrupt the meeting. Not saying it hasn't happened. And the third thing is it's just a little ironic that in trying to streamline the meetings, it was almost 10 minutes talked about lessons in the Bible and our Constitution and removing the prayer. So it's just a little ironic. Thank you.
Is there further public comment?
Mr. Chair, John Rocha, City of Hastings, Precinct Delegate. Again, I'd like to reiterate the second public comment. Just because other boards don't have this doesn't mean that they are correct or they are better for it. I think my friends over here have done a phenomenal job of discussing exactly why it's imperative. Being able to talk about the agenda beforehand and then being able to see what your guys' discussion is of those agenda items may bring other discussion further for public comment, things that weren't brought aware before the meeting came about. As far as the prayer and conviction before any board, I would say that nobody is forced to pray to a specific God or Jesus Christ himself, and nobody is forced to pray at all. But it is meant to be there for those who would like to participate and take that opportunity to pray over everybody or anybody they want in the God or deity that they do deem appropriate. And I think that is something that has been done for a long time. And then furthermore, if someone can show me the separation of church and state in our U.S. Constitution, I'd like to see that. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Bethany Matthews, Carlton Township. Regarding the two public comments, I started attending the commissioners' meetings about a year ago, and I found the second comment very helpful just because I feel like I got to know you guys better. It was more, I felt like we were listened to more, and I think without the time for public comment, there's your public people, your constituents are feeling like they want to talk, but they so seldom have all of your attention. And so once a week, having that, the ability for good communication is very essential, and I appreciate it a lot. And then number two, regarding the request to remove the invocation from your agenda, I find that offensive. And I think it is important, like John Rocha said, it's not, we're not saying who you're praying to, but it does offer, it's been tradition, it has been good, it's good to begin our meetings understanding that it's not by our power and our might and privilege that we're here, it's because of what our Creator has done for us, whoever you name as your Creator. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, thank you. And good morning, Commissioners. My name is Mike Snyder, and I live in the city of Hastings. As far as the public comments are concerned, I think you covered everything, and I do think it's a very, very important part of county business. It's a chance to hear from the public, and it's a chance to make comments on the public, on the comments. Because lots of times we have a question, we never get an answer. And I think having the comments from the commissioners afterwards, I think it's important. Second item, have you considered possibly on ad hoc committees? Possibly you can possibly have 2 members from the board on ad hoc committee and have maybe a couple of 1 or 2, maybe 3 citizens at large on the ad hoc committee. I think that will possibly help bring the committee into the county government. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there further public comment?
So the fact that I'm walking up here and what I'm about to say is kind of ridiculous, but I'm going to have to disagree with these folks over here. I think, and I forgot who brought it up, but if we have 1 comment period and there was more flexibility and if someone wanted to go longer, I think having 1 comment period, having 2 doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, I just did come up here twice for different reasons, but I just think, especially if you're willing to give latitude to those people to say, hey, we're not just going to have you on a 3-minute clock as long as it doesn't get to the chairman's, I forgot, to your desires or whatever. So, also, I will tell you that, I've only been coming to these meetings for about 5 months or so, but I know it's very difficult for people who work to get here, be it 9. I mean, 10 would have been worse. 9 does not work, so I think by not, I think it was Commissioner Getty said, it would be better to, forget I just said that. I think he said something else, but everyone knows the meetings are at 9, but if you can't make it for work, you've got to make a serious commitment to say, I'm going to take a few hours off of work, if you can even do that. I think it would be a good idea to maybe have once a month, have it at 6 o'clock or whatever. Obviously, I agree with what Mr. Carlton said, which is you don't change the venue. That would be madness. But to at least have 1 a month at 6 o'clock so that you're not blocking out people from ever coming to one of these meetings if they want to. So, thank you.
Thank you. Additional public comment?
Hello, my name is Jim James, resident, Berry County, Rutland Township. And I just want to welcome you all to this new position that you'll be serving and continuing out some of your terms. And particularly welcome Mr. Tunison, who will be representing our township, and looking forward to working with you, Bob. So thank you.
No. Is there further public comment? Going once, going twice. Okay, we will move ahead. Commissioner comments. Let me start out by saying thank you for your support, for voting me for this year's board chair. I'm looking forward to this board. We did lose a lot of institutional knowledge with Ben and Vivian and Hoot leaving us, but we've also got a very good group of commissioners, and I'm excited to welcome Commissioner Doster. He's got a legal and management background. Commissioner Colleton has had some experience. I think he'll be able to lend the board from his previous stint as board chair with us as well. Mr. Tunison's got an extensive business background as well and very well connected to the community. And Mr. Hatfield, with the banking and management background as well, and also very well connected, that I think we've got some very good minds, and we've got some challenges ahead of us with facilities. In our conversations with Michael last year, county revenues are flat. It looks like we may be a little recessionary this year. We'll know in the first 6 months. We may have to make some difficult decisions and keep our heads in the games, but it'll require some creative thinking, maybe some thinking outside the box. It'll require us working together and having good communication. But I look forward to working with all of you, and let's get some things done this year for the betterment of our community. Additional comments? Commissioner Smelker.
I think we have a very diverse group. I think we're not always going to agree, but I do think that we will be able to work together and do what's best for Berry County. That's all I
Commissioner
got.
Getty.
I would echo those comments. I think this is a group that can debate and discuss and feel like it is a forum that we can do that in and still move on with the county's business. So I hope everyone enters this year with that spirit.
Commissioner Colton.
Looking forward to the new year, working with y'all.
Thank you. Commissioner Doster.
I'd like to bring the board's attention to some public comment that came from Jim Brown a number of times before this board. He had asked for a reimbursement to be placed on the agenda that was never acted upon. And I'm not necessarily for this reimbursement, but he was and I think continues to be a township supervisor, and I was a township supervisor, so I kind of have sympathy for him. And it seems like if a township supervisor takes the effort to come here and ask for something to be placed on the agenda, that we should grant the respect to that, to at least do that. So I would like to see that on the next regular board meeting, that his request for his reimbursement be placed on the agenda so we could discuss it.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Tunison.
I'm looking forward greatly to working with this board. I've looked forward to this for a year now. I've worked hard. I had a lot of support, a lot of help, and a lot of guidance from everybody here. But I also don't want us as a group here to lose sight of who we're representing as everybody that's out there. When they come up there and give public comments, that's what we're here for, to listen, and we'll take what they've got to say and we can go from there. But to limit that is a detriment to what we're here for. So that's, I want to start out with that.
Commissioner Campbell.
Well, when you go last, everybody's already said everything, so obviously we lost some very good commissioners. And they taught me a lot because I was absolutely no knowledge when I started, and I probably only have a little bit now. But I do know that these new commissioners are all very talented. They have much knowledge and much experience, and I really think the board is going to do very well.
Thank you. And Vice Chair Hatfield.
Well, first, let me thank you for the honor of electing me as vice chair. I appreciate that, and I look forward to working with all of you. I am very optimistic about the ability of this group to deal with the challenges that are ahead of us. So,
thank you. We've reached the end of our agenda. So without any objection, this meeting is now adjourned.
No objection.